Most movies fail because they're bad. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World failed because it was doing too much too early for an audience that didn't know what to do with it.
Not so long ago, in the mysterious land of Toronto, Canada, Scott Pilgrim was dating a high schooler.
You get fat.
No, why would I get fat?
Bread makes you fat.
Bread makes you fat?
So what's her name?
Knives Chow. She's Chinese. Wicked.
When people talk about Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, it's usually with a kind of reverence. They call it ahead of its time, a cult classic, one of the most unique comic adaptations ever made. And they're not wrong, but what makes the movie interesting isn't just that it's good, it's that it failed. Not because it was broken, but because it didn't fit anywhere. At its core, Scott Pilgrim had a targeting problem. On paper, it looks like a typical early 2010s comedy, young cast, romance, indie vibes, but the second it starts, it becomes something else entirely. It's structured like a video game, it's edited like a music video, and it's packed with references that assume you already understand the language it's speaking.
Do that one again.
Sorry, what are we doing?
If you weren't into indie rock, retro games, comic book storytelling, a lot of the movie just doesn't land the same. And if you were into those things, you were probably a pretty specific niche. The movie wasn't broad enough for general audiences and not marketed clearly enough for the audience it was actually made for.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing.
Hey, you know Pac-Man?
I know of him.
Well, Pac-Man was originally called Puck-Man. They changed it because, not because Pac-Man looks like a hockey puck. Paku means flap your mouth. And that they were worried people would scratch out the P, turn it into an F, like.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Am I dreaming? I'll leave you alone forever now.
Thanks.
The trailers for Scott Pilgrim are a perfect example of this disconnect. They show the action, they show the effects, and they show the weirdness, but they don't really explain the tone. Is it a comedy? Is it an action movie? A romance? It is all of those things, but the marketing never found a simple way to communicate that. And when audiences don't understand what a movie is, they usually just don't go. Compare that to something like The Avengers just a couple years later. Clean premise, clean tone, easy sell. Scott Pilgrim requires explanation. And in marketing, that's already a problem. If Scott Pilgrim came out today, it probably does numbers. But in 2010, it was just too early. The movie leans heavily into video game logic, internet humor, and fast, reference-heavy editing. All things that are completely normal now, but back then, they weren't mainstream yet. Streaming hadn't fully taken over, internet culture wasn't driving trends the way it does now, so instead of feeling familiar, the movie felt weird. Not bad, just unfamiliar in a way that made it harder to latch onto.
Someone's happy.
Well, someone got to second base last night, and someone has a second date tonight.
Someone's lucky then.
Another thing that quietly works against the movie is Scott himself. He's not a traditional protagonist. He's immature, self-absorbed, kind of oblivious to how he treats people. And the movie knows that. It's part of the point. But for general audiences, especially on a first watch, that can be a tough sell. Because if you don't fully connect with Scott, the emotional core of the movie doesn't hit as hard. You're watching something visually exciting, but not necessarily something you feel invested in yet. And that matters more than people think.
He seems nice.
What makes Scott Pilgrim special is also what limits it. The editing is fast, the visuals are dense, the pacing barely slows down. Every scene is packed with visual gags, background details, blink and you miss it jokes, which is great for rewatchability, but on a first viewing, it can feel overwhelming. The movie doesn't hold your hand, it expects you to keep up. And if you fall behind even a little bit, it's easy to disengage. Ironically, everything that caused Scott Pilgrim to flop is exactly what made it last. Because once the movie hit streaming and home release, people had time to catch up, to rewatch, pick up on the details, to meet it on its own wavelength. And suddenly the things that felt overwhelming in theaters became the reason people loved it. It didn't change, the audience did. And now, years later, it's remembered way more than most of the movies that actually beat it at the box office, which says a lot, because sometimes a movie doesn't need to succeed right away. It just needs to find the right audience eventually.
Hello again, friend of a friend. I knew you were. Our common goal was waiting for the world to end. Now that the truth is just a rule that you can bend, you crack the whip, shape shift and trick the past again. Send you my love.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, drop a like, subscribe, all that jazz, and let me know. Do you think Scott Pilgrim would succeed if it was released today, or would it still struggle the same way it did back then?